It is a foundation that's been set up by one of the most successful IT entrepreneurs in the world. It is a foundation that has an endowment of over $1 billion. It is a foundation that's committed almost $650 million to various projects across the world. It is a foundation that focuses on children living in urban poverty in India. It is the Michael and Susan Dell Foundation. He's one of the world's most recognized and respected college dropouts. 25 years ago, he laid the foundation for an IT business that is today a $100 billion company. But about a decade back, Michael Dell realized his life's work was incomplete without giving back to those less privileged. That vision saw the birth of the Michael and Susan Dell Foundation in 1999 with a personal contribution of $1 billion.
Our focus has always been on children living in urban poverty. We're not looking for the biggest problems, we're looking for the biggest opportunities to transform the lives of those children through better health and education.
It's been a 5-year-long journey for the Michael and Susan Dell Foundation in India. They've already committed $70 million and the focus and the effort now is on scaling up. Varun Mohanty is heading the India operations and he's on a mission to transform the lives of as many children in India as he possibly can. Varun Mohanty and his team of 8 program managers are partnering NGOs like Gyanshala and Nandi to change the education landscape in Indian cities. The foundation is also working with other philanthropic bodies like the Dr. Reddy's Foundation to impart vocational training to high school dropouts and the unemployed youth. And aiming to create a stable environment with children by supporting economically challenged households by supporting microfinance institutions like Jana Lakshmi. So let me start by asking you about your experience in India. The Michael and Susan Dell Foundation started actively working in India in about 2005. So it's been a 5-year journey. How would you summarize it?
India is very hard to ignore in the context of children that require help. 20% of the world's children live here. The statistics are mind-numbing. And so we were very clear early on that as the foundation went international, India should be and will be a major and first port of call. How has the journey been? It's been humbling in many ways because we spend a lot of our time actually going to the slums which we are trying to help improve. And that is indeed helping. So no matter how much strategy you come up with, it's very difficult to make sure that that implements with the work. So we try and focus on 3 things. We say that, focusing on measurable outcomes is one of the most important things for us because unless you really know scientifically how children are improving, it doesn't really help. And I would say in the last 5 years, that's been a major area of our focus. The second, which we're getting into much more now, is to look at scale and sustainability because ultimately we are just catalysts and we cannot personally or through the foundation do anything for every child in India. The third is, I think one of our value added is that we get deeply engaged with our partner organizations in the problem solving of how things are actually put in place.
Right. But why the decision to focus on children living in urban poverty? I would imagine that, given the state of rural India at this point in time, that would have perhaps been the natural choice or the obvious choice. Why the decision to actually look at urban poverty?
In the scheme of India's requirements, amount of resource that we have is very small. And the best way to make an impact is to be focused. Ours is an extraordinarily focused organization. Michael is focused. So we wanted to pick an area where we were sure we could make an impact. So we have absolutely no issues with helping in rural areas whatsoever. But we've chosen, given our mission and our resources, to focus on urban.
But how different is the ecosystem in India, for instance? You're also the foundation is also operating in the US, it's also operating in South Africa. How differently are you sort of placed here in India, and are the challenges very different here as well?
The mission of the foundation is on the children. So the children are pretty much the same no matter where you go in the world. Of course, the situation is very different. So in the US, there is a lot more information about children. However, they have their own set of issues with learning levels and so on. There, the kind of interventions that we work on have much to do with things like performance management, where you take the data for granted and then you use it to come up with insights about how to improve what you can do in the schools. In India, we're setting up the infrastructure to get that kind of a data.
Right.
And our approach is, we'll do what it takes to help the child.
It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and most of the children studying at the government primary school in the Charminar area of Hyderabad have dispersed. But there is one group that's staying back. These children are part of an academic support center, or what we would call a tuition class run by a not-for-profit organization, Nandi. The idea here is simple. Every child deserves equal opportunity to succeed. So Nandi, over the last 5 years, has worked with some of India's leading educationists to develop models that are creative and based on problem solving. Children are divided into groups with a child leader helping fellow students understand what is being taught. And leading the classroom here is one of Nandi's 1200 community activists, Mohammadi Begum, a 10th standard pass out who doesn't teach but facilitates learning.
स्कूल के साथ साथ जो है एक्स्ट्रा जैसा कि ट्यूशन नांदी की तरफ से है, बच्चों को ट्यूशन में हेल्प हो रही है। ऐसा इस तरीके से बच्चों को पढ़ने में आसानी हो रही है। ऐसा जो स्लो लर्नर जो स्टूडेंट्स रहते हैं उनको क्या हो रहा है, इसमें बेनिफिट हो रहा है कि वो लोग स्टडी अच्छी तरीके से कर सक रहे।
Nandi is one of Michael and Susan Dell Foundation's first grantees. CEO Manoj Kumar believes the key to Nandi's success has been the Foundation's VC-like approach, which means being able to take risks and the ability to stay the course. The $10 million it has received in grants has been used to achieve scale and create a pool of committed young professionals like Shantanu, a graduate from UK's Sussex University, who's now working with Nandi to manage 350 schools in Hyderabad.